Hi class, today we are on Saxon Book 3, Lesson 61, and we're going to talk about squares and square numbers. So I have a couple of squares here. We're going to start with this one on the left. This is called a square unit. It is one little square. The side lengths are 1 unit each. So this is 1 unit. And this is 1 unit, and this shows us the multiplication fact, 1 times 1 equals 1. So I'm going to write that down here below. Okay, the side lengths are 1 and 1, and we end up with 1 square unit. Now if I build that up a little bigger, let's say I do 2 up and down, 2 across, it's still a square because this side length is 2 and this side length is 2. So I've still got my congruent side lengths, but now look how many square units it takes to build my square. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can show this picture with the multiplication fact, 2 times 2 equals 4. I have 2 units on this side times 2 units on this side, and it gives me a total of 4 units. I keep building. I make an even bigger square. Now let's count. I have 1, 2, 3 units on this side, 3 units across for my width. And how many squares make the total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I'm showing 3 times 3 equals 9. So these numbers, the answers here, my 1, my 4, and my 9, those are called square numbers. And the reason we call them square numbers is because if I take 9 squares, I can form them into a bigger square. If I take 4 squares, I can form them into a square. If I take 1 square, I can form it into a square. What if I only have 6 squares? Can I make that into a square shape? Let's test it out. So I have 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that a square shape? No. Can I rearrange it maybe to make it square? What if I take those off and I put them here? 5, 6. Still not a square. What if I take this one and just put it here? Definitely not a square. So 6 is not a square number because I can't take 6 tiles and form it into a square shape. Square numbers, if you take that number of square tiles, you can form it into a square shape. 6 we can't do that. 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3. If we wanted to keep going, I could say 4 times 4. I don't have to draw the picture. I could draw the picture. It's going to take longer than I want to spend on it. But 4 times 4 would give me 16. And I could just add another row or another column onto here and then another row at the bottom. That would give me 4 times 4. 5 times 5. What pattern are you noticing with square numbers? If we multiply the same number together, we're going to get a square number. So there's something I want to show you on your multiplication table. You can see I have them highlighted. These are all our square numbers. Excuse my bell for a moment. So if I find 1 times 1, I get 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we have 9. That's what we did over here. We had 1, 4, 9. Keep going. We get 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, and 144. It's nice how they make that little diagonal pattern across your multiplication chart. There you go. If you guys have one of these, if you're my student, you had one attached to last week's lesson plans, you can highlight that across so that you have quick, easy access to all of your square numbers, or you can print stuff like this off online if you just look at like completed multiplication tables, and then you also could have your own little multiplication table resource with the square numbers highlighted, and then you find them really easy when you need them. So, our next example says find each product, and there's a strategy that they show you for how to do it until you get your multiplication facts memorized. So the first one is 4 times 4. It's a square number. So our strategy is to make a square array. So we're going to do 4 going across like this, and then we're going to do 4 going up and down, and then we can just fill it in, finish the square with our array. Here's my picture, and then to solve it, I can count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16. There's our answer. Okay, for the next one, I'm not going to erase the array because the next problem is just 5 times 5. And I already have 4 by 4, so let's just add to that. We'll add a 5th to each one, and then this only goes down 4, so I have to add a 5th row across here. So now, count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 is a square number. And our final example says the square number 121 is the product of which two identical factors? This is where your multiplication facts can really come in handy. So they're telling us 121. I can find that right there on my multiplication table. That's the product of which two factors? The factors are what numbers am I multiplying together to get 121. So I can look up here and I've got 11, and then I can go across the side there and I've got 11 again. So 11 would be my answer. All right, boys and girls, you have some lesson practice to do. Problem A wants to know every single square number as the answer to a multiplication table. So it says, copy and complete each multiplication fact below. So they don't just want you to write the answers, they want you to write 1 times 1 equals 1. Then 2 times 2 equals, and you'll write your answer. You're going to do that for 1 through 12. That's all for problem A. The next problem says this is a square made up with 10 rows of 10 tiles each. How many tiles are in the square? So we're looking at 10 times 10. We could grab our multiplication table and find the answer that way, or we could just count by tens. So 10, you count, because I'm not going to give you the answer till the end. 10 times 10, what did you get? 100 is correct. 10 times 10 is 100. The next, problem C, says here is a sequence of square numbers. What are the next three numbers in the sequence. So we have 1, 4, 9, 16, and they want the next three. So here we go. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. So what are we going to do to figure out this next number? 5 times 5. If you haven't figured it out already, do it right now. Once you have 5 times 5, what would this one be? 6 times 6. Figure that one out right now. Pause me if you need a little bit more time to do it. And then we've done 5 times 5, 6 times 6. Our final one will be 7 times 7. Figure that one out. Pause me if you need a few more minutes or seconds. So we should have 25. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. All right, I want you to go back and do part A. Finish all of those, write all 12 of the multiplication facts out so that you've got the first 12 square numbers. And you can either check your answers in the answer key that you have at home, or you can just check it compared to your multiplication table. Those numbers that we highlighted would be the answer to each of your multiplication problems. After you finish that, it's time to start your written practice homework, which begins on page 331. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.